talk, watch them all fall. This is AFC North talk. Got me hype, it's about to be a touchdown. Got the Ravens, Steelers, Bengals, and the Browns. Are you listening? It's time to get it hype. Tune in when the season poppin'. Yeah, we going live. Hey, knock 'em out. Ay, first down, going hard. Yes, indeed. AFC North talk. Let's go. Hey, AFC North talk.
Welcome to another episode of AFC North Talk Divisional Round. We're back, not division, sorry, weekend wild card. We're finally on the playoffs. We're in the playoff vibe. Q will be here before people start going crazy. Q said he's like a minute away, so he'll be here. Poll has been out there. We threw the first poll, Bills Steelers. So go check that out. Go vote. Again, Elliot Q is on his way. So don't worry about it. He'll be here. Before we get started with the first game, we were talking backstage about Bill Belichick and the legacy and all this stuff. And it's crazy how, like, right now, if you're looking for a coach, there's a lot of teams. Like, think about Pete got fired. Now, Pete looks like he wants to go coach still. Bill Belichick definitely wants to coach again. Saban, for those who follow college, he gone. We'll see what happens to Bama now. The what?
Vrabel, Mike Vrabel.
Vrabel, that for me was insane. That the whole Vrabel thing. Although he has had back-to-back bad years.
Pete Carroll was the craziest one to me. I didn't see that. Like we heard about Belichick. You know, Vrabel, I will say. Maybe it's because I follow some Titans fans, but some of them kind of were saying that the GM and him weren't on the same page, and they were kind of showing videos throughout the season where they had awkward exchanges. Yeah, so like when that happened, I wasn't too shocked because I'm like, all right, him and the GM don't like each other, so that happens, right? But Pete Carroll, no, I was not expecting to hear Pete Carroll has been removed as the coach. That was kind of wild to me.
Well, think about this. Last year, when they traded Russ Westbrook, we were thinking they're going to tank. This is a team, top 5 pick. Before the year started last year's, they overachieved. They made the playoff, play really good. This year they come. They probably overachieved last year, and they probably play what they should have been last year, if we're completely honest. Like they played well, they just didn't play like playoff well. They were borderline, right? Like and think about Geno Smith. That's probably what you're gonna get with Geno, right? But what that tells me is, you as a coach exceeded expectation. You as a coach exploited your team and was able to get more out of your team, right? And then this year, yeah, you went down a little bit compared to last year, but to be fired right away, especially how many jobs are open, I thought it was quick. I thought it was kind of crazy.
I thought it was kind of delayed because it was like, you know, you had kind of the guys early on that got released and stuff like that. I just wasn't expecting Pete Carroll. I mean, but clearly he's staying. He's kind of doing the thing that Bengals fans expected Marvin Lewis to do, which is stay with the organization and kind of go into the front office or in some kind of advisory role. So I guess technically he's still there, but I don't know. It was strange, man, to hear that happen. And then the thing that made it even weirder, which I wasn't paying attention, but one of my good friends, one of my former coworkers, he's a Seahawks fan. Like the day before this happened, he was saying that he still wanted to coach. So I don't like, obviously it was a mutual thing, but I think it was like they gave him no choice but to be like, hey, you're out of coaching. If you want to be in this advisory role, that's there. But I kind of was shocked. Like some of you, what you're saying is they have a Geno Smith situation. They don't have an heir apparent as the quarterback. So I don't know. It's kind of weird.
It is. It definitely is. So we'll see.
By the way, Mike Vrabel, he was just tired of losing all his damn players. That's why he left. Like, that's why he got fired. He was tired. That GM showed up and they lost AJ Brown, and now they about to lose Derrick Henry. You think he about to try? You think Mike Vrabel was trying to show up to work next year?
Spears.
Might be a reunion in New England though. You never see.
I don't think Vrabel wanted to rebuild. Like it's clear the GM was like, all right, after that Bengals,
I don't think he trusted
thing,
his
this
GM
is
to
done.
rebuild.
I don't think he
Yeah.
did either. I think
Like-
he's kind of like, I want to still compete, but GM was like, hell nah. We got Ryan Tannehill at quarterback, dog. We not going nowhere.
And it's one thing when you rebuild and you're just rebuilding, right? Because that's what you have to do. It's another thing when you feel like y'all fumbled your way into this rebuild, and that's why we're rebuilding. And I don't trust who you like. I don't like the players that you like. Like this to me has a whole bunch of I don't mess with that man Steve's on it. Like type vibe. Like I just don't think that he really rocked with the new GM or like that. Which hey, that's on ownership for making that not work. Like
Yeah, I look. People are saying Vrabel to New England because he played for the Patriots, right? If
He coached
Vrabel
there, too.
coached, yeah, you're right. But I think if Vrabel coaches this year right away, I don't know if Washington will offer it to Vrabel, but I think he might like that southern side. I think he might go with UQ. Although I heard they won the
Oh,
hoodie down
Atlanta?
there. Yeah.
Let me tell you something. Mike Vrabel ain't gonna be in Atlanta.
You don't think so?
Bill Belichick ain't about to be in Atlanta. Like, that ain't the job. That ain't the. You gotta have those guys have options, Sonny. If I had options and somebody was like, "Hey man, come on down here and get Desmond Ritter fixed,"
Yeah, that's
you
fair.
about to do that? You about to do that? No, hell no. I'm not about to do that. Like, I'm about to go somewhere. Isn't there a team available like the Chargers that has a quarterback?
Yeah.
Like, either you have a quarterback or you have the assets to go get a quarterback. So the Chargers job and the Patriots job, those are probably the two most
So Washington,
wanted
right?
jobs right now.
Washington, they had the second overall pick.
Oh yeah, Washington. Yeah, I guess Washington would make sense too. But yeah,
now that the owner, now that Snyder's out of there,
Yeah.
Washington.
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah. But you gotta remember, man, there's nothing about Bill Belichick that will fly in the South. Like that
That's
is
true.
not.
That is true.
Think about that Demeter down south, and then Mike Vrabel. Like I guess that worked in Tennessee, but Tennessee and Georgia are two different places.
Okay.
And he tried to do the Patriot way stuff there in Tennessee. So if I'm New England, if you're trying to get away from Belichick, I don't think you go with Vrabel because
They're saying Mayo for New England, which is kind of
Rod Mayo.
Yeah.
Maybe.
Is that for GM or is that for head coach?
No, head coach.
Because remember,
they're
Bill's
saying-
got two roles to fill, right?
No,
Yeah.
for head coach.
Yeah, that's true because Bill was the GM. He was a horrible GM, by the way, which people don't talk about that.
Yeah, that he has
Awful as a
never been good.
GM. He was
You
like
know-
Jordan on the Wizards owner level of GM.
So he was a horrible GM. Where he was really, really good was figuring out somebody's trash and made it excel in New England system.
Bomani Jones has the best comp for him. He's like Bill Belichick is like Dr. Dre. Where you look at Dr. Dre's catalog, it is a bunch of dudes who was only hot with Dr. Dre.
Exactly.
Like every time they worked somewhere else, they couldn't figure it out with him. Right? We never heard from who was it like? Was it Prodigy or somebody like that? Like we never heard from them outside of Dr. Dre, but when Dr. Dre was with them, oh yeah, they had hits. Like that's the best way I could describe Bill. Bill could figure out how to get you on a hot track.
Yeah.
Bill could not figure out how to make people buy your album because there wasn't no album to buy for a lot. Jamie Collins. Who want that Jamie Collins album? Who I've heard from people on the team with Jamie Collins that might be the most lazy man that they've ever seen in a professional football locker room.
Really?
That's correct. I don't know how he played for Bill Belichick.
But with Bill, he played excellent.
Because he wasn't like that against Bill. He was like that when he left Bill. Like again, Bill the only one get that right.
You know, everybody get in line when it's behind Bill.
Belichick.
Mm-hmm. People act like they around their mama when they around Bill. They just be all well behaved and shit. They leave Bill, they not. They just they acting off.
But don't y'all feel like that style of like the whole strict stuff from like back in the day? I don't think it works with this generation. Like you see the Tom Coughlins, you see the Bill Belichick's. Like nobody wants to be on those teams.
I don't think Bill truly like that though. Like, I think he appears like that because that's how he is in media appearances because he doesn't like the media. But you ever hear people who played with Bill for a long time, like the people who bounced in and out with him, they'll say that. But like the people who are on the teams with Bill, they're like, nah, Bill was personable. Bill told jokes. Bill does this. Bill will tell you he's just kind of blunt, but you know, he's not a yell at you type guy. Like I've hardly seen.
Do you feel like it's like the no nonsense strict? We can't have fun. Like how people are like, you can't have fun.
It depends. It depends on.
But they be having fun though.
This was the same thing we was talking about earlier with Tomlin and how he controls the locker room as far as like the demeanor and the players and that kind of like taking things lightly. If you know that this system and this organization is a no nonsense. No dancing around type thing, and you buying into that because you know that they're going to be able to win, you're going to fall in line. But if you think that
is that what these kids in this generation want to do?
It's a person.
There's always people who like that though. Like I think there are some kids who don't, but there's some kids who in my generation that were like, oh, I ain't about to do that shit. We want to go somewhere we have fun. And then there's some people who went to the military, right? Like I think every generation has people who are more able to work with authority. Some people who work better when they have that authoritative era in front of them, and some people who don't. Like I think people are people at the end of the day, and what Bill did was successful because it was consistent, right? Like you knew what to expect if you went to the Patriots and Bill Belichick. So that's half the battle, is knowing what the expectations are. It's when you change those expectations and people think the rules is this and then it's not, when people get frustrated, right? Like, I think that's what kind of the frustration around some of the Tomlin stuff was like, oh, people thought it was this, and now Tomlin's letting people do this, but I can't do this. And now you got people being mad because why can't I do this when you let this person do that? Or you let AB act out, but you're not going like it's those things that kind of break it down. But if it's consistent, it's consistent.
And then too,
it started with Tom Brady acting like that too at quarterback.
Yeah.
I was going to say then too, you got to think about the leadership that's in the locker room. Beforehand, when earlier in Tomlin years, you had a lot of older leadership in that locker room that wasn't going for that. It wasn't about to be dancing around and playing around. But yeah, this younger generation now, when you get a lot of younger players in there who don't have that experience and those years behind their belt as far as like the pedigree that it is to be a Pittsburgh Steeler. Yeah, you gonna come in there and it's gonna be a little bit unruly.
Yes, sir. Okay, so we had a couple super chats here. Noah Stone says Brady made Bill. Look at his quicker without.
Sure.
You can say that.
I'm gonna disagree.
Yeah, I think
you can't say that. They were good without him. Like when did Brady get entered? When did Brady get entered in? What was the record? They were already a championship winning, already like a high caliber team when he entered the roster. He took advantage of a good situation. Like if you want to sit here and try to tell me that Bill Belichick's not a good coach,
like, we can't discount what Brady did, dog.
No,
like, there were so many people for years. There were so many people for years that were like, "Oh, it's Bill Belichick. It's his system. It's this and that." And it's like, yeah, but Tom Brady is pretty damn good. Like Tom Brady won with Kevin Falk and David Givens as his like number one options on that offense. And then he ends up going to the Buccaneers and ends up winning without him. And then the Patriots pretty much went to shit without him. So like there were years where people were like, oh, well, look at what's the guy that went to Kansas City? He had the year where Brady got hurt. And everybody was
Matt
like,
Castle?
Yeah, they were like, yeah, Brady's just a system quarterback. Matt Castle went there and went 11-5. And it was like, I respect Bill Belichick. However, he did have one of the best quarterbacks of all time.
I mean, you had the same thing with Jimmy.
Tom wasn't always Tom though. Like that's the thing. Like it's recency bias to act like Bill wasn't. Like they won those first 3 rings because of Bill. Like that defense, Belichick's defense was the reason they won those Super Bowls.
Throwing that pass to get them
without a decent quarterback, they don't get there. But if they had any other decent quarterback there, they probably would have won at least 2 of those rings. So like that first run with Tom, where people were like he might be a system quarterback, this and that, it doesn't get erased because in his later years he was better than what he was in like 2004. But 2004, 2003, like those rings, that Bill had a ton to do with that, and Tom didn't have as much to do with it. But yeah, you could argue like the 2017 one, the 2019 one, obviously the 2020 one.
The very first one is Tom Brady driving them down to get in the field goal range. So I can't sit
Yeah, I'm
here
not
and
saying
say
Tom
he
didn't do
have
anything
to do with that.
No, I'm not saying he didn't have anything to do with it, but the bulk of the reason you had the season that you had to get there is the defense. Like Tom stepped up in moments. Hold on. Tom stepped up in moments where he was asked to step up for sure. But let's not act like the Patriots, we were like, oh my God, Tom Brady in 2003.
Nah, we can't act like Drew
defense
Bledsoe wasn't a good quarterback, though. Drew Bledsoe was a very good quarterback when Tom Brady came in and took over for him. So for them to
Drew
move
Bledsoe was
on
a pro bowler. And they moved on from him. And Tom was a good quarterback at that time. But it wasn't, Tom, it wasn't like Joe Burrow his second year in the NFL, where like the only thing that changed was Joe Burrow. And then all of a sudden, this was a gradual evolution of Tom Brady. And that beginning part of it, like Tom was still a very good quarterback, but he was also winning at the level that he was winning Super Bowls, multiple of them, 3, because he had such a great support staff, mainly because of Bill Belichick. Like if he were on a different team, he probably would have been a Pro Bowler, would have won 10 games and got out in like the first, second round, but he wouldn't have been 3-time champion Tom Brady is my point. Like what got him over the top early was Bill Belichick's expertise on the defensive side of the ball and how well he was using all of those pieces on defense. And then it started to become about Tom during that second run of championships. Well, then it was all about Tom at that second run of championships. But that early run, a lot of those teams were defensive oriented and they needed somebody to handle business at the quarterback position. He was a really good quarterback and he did that. But that defense was what we talked about with the Patriots back then.
Okay. Noah Stone also says, last Flacco playoff game, Tom Brady came back down 14 twice.
Don't nobody give a fuck about no Tom Brady no more. What we talk about Tom Brady for still? Don't you got
Noah
Lamar
Stone,
to
that's
root
his
for?
brand. No, that's his brand.
Why are we still talking about Tom? It's been 3 years.
Noah Stone, Ray right here says, Q, I love that every few months you have to remind people why Art Modell should never make the Hall of Fame.
Yeah, he fired Paul Brown, forced Jim Brown out of football, and fired Bill Belichick and Nick Saban.
So the question that I have for owner, this is a legit question. How does an owner really make the Hall of Fame?
They should not, but they do. But they should not. But especially him because
if
he got that, part of the reason, like the teams in Baltimore, and like this is no disrespect to people in Baltimore, the city of Baltimore, the Baltimore Ravens organization, anything like that. But the reason the team's in Baltimore is because he can't run a business. He couldn't be profitable with the Cleveland Browns. And he ran out of money, went bankrupt, and he had to go somewhere for them to offer him cash so he can get a stadium. That's why the team's in Baltimore. And
I'm not sure about Art Modell, but I can see somebody like Jerry Jones making that in the Hall of Fame. Like he'll write his own ticket to get in the Hall of Fame.
But my point is, how does an owner, what does an owner have to do? That's what.
Jerry Jones in particular, he does a lot of GM stuff too.
So he can go in as a GM, right? Like let's say, but I'm saying as an owner, because the owner's here just vibing. Like Art Modell. So Art Modell basically, in the case of Art
we
Modell,
know owner shouldn't be in there, but people are going to give credit to ownership because they try to get paid at the end of the day. That's really what's
Robert
about.
Kraft. Robert Kraft. Like if they put Robert Kraft, which I'm assuming he's not. Should he? No. What has he done? Like he's just the owner of a great franchise. Okay.
Yeah, the Hall of Fame committee just needs some donations. That's probably it. Like that's why the owners get in there.
That's my main argument with Jerry Jones and all that because money talks.
Yeah. Okay.
They just want to feel special and get called a Hall of Famer and wear a jacket. And it's a pay for experience for them.
So Professor Chaos here says, Sonny, who do you want to see less, Steelers or Browns? The reality is
you don't want to see us.
Okay, so the reality is how I approach every time that the Ravens make the playoffs is we have to be who we have to be if we want to win it all, right? That being said, if you have heard me throughout this year, there's something that I have said throughout the year is the level of intensity in the AFC North. Even in this year, I noticed it more than any other year, minus the 49ers game for us. It was different when we played the North. So if you tell me you can have a physical battle, and you're gonna win, but you're gonna have a physical battle, or you play Miami, which you're just vibing there, and you're probably gonna beat them without a lot of physicality. Even let's say the Steelers, because probably people will be like, "Ah, your Steelers barely made it." Yeah, but the Steelers will play you hard throughout the game. Miami, you can make them quit, and then you're just vibing the rest of the game, right? So I would prefer not to see anybody in the North. That's my answer. But at the same time, we get who we get through the path, and I'll take it, right? Because if you really want to win it all, you just have to be who you get.
Just say it, Sonny. Just say it.
No. Look, a reality is if we get the Steelers in the second round, there's an enjoyment because all I hear, like there was a lot of 5-1s, right? And I tweeted about because my Ravens compadres here were getting into their feelings because Steelers fan were just look they were like baiting. Oh, we were 5-1. We're the real champs of the North, right? And then I see not even YouTubers. I'm seeing like people there like media people taking the bait. I'm like, so I had to tweet about it like, yo, why you listen to the noise? Like that's fine. They're 5-1. Who won it all? They just ignore this noise. So if we get the Steelers, and after all that they have said, they come in the playoff, right? The problem is the Steelers would tell me, a Steelers fan would tell me, well, yeah, we were just 7 seed, so they really had nothing to lose, right? But it would be a satisfactory just to put that L there after everything they said. I don't know. I really don't care. Whoever we get. But I would prefer not a North team.
Hey, Chaos, I'm gonna help you out. Ravens fans want Bills that handle business so bad because if we come in and play them the third time, let's let's
how easy it is to beat that three. How easy it is to beat a team 3 times. How easy.
Hey, take the over on James Cook rushing yards, by the way.
I mean, we don't know them odds how easy it is. But with that being said, you're gonna come and play a familiar team in a place where we're very familiar with beating the Ravens.
Yep.
Like the Mods.
You know what? I won the Steelers.
There you go. Take that bait. I like that.
You see, I took the bait. Nova Stone here says Bill started in Bill Belichick. I thought he was talking about the Bills. Bill started in 2000, went 5-1, then 0-2 before Tom Brady.
You want to make the argument that Bill Belichick is not a good head coach.
Yeah,
you can make it.
Yeah,
you're just going to sound like an idiot. I'm just going to say there, like, okay, it's not a good argument. It's just not. You can say what it was with Tom Brady. Tom Brady entered the 2001 season. They were 11-5 that year. Like he went 10-6 with Matt Castle in that 2008 season, and he went to the playoffs with Matt Corkle Jones.
Yes, yeah.
Like, okay, like you want to make that argument. He's not a good head coach, Nova Stone. I don't understand why you are making yourself sound like an idiot to prove that Tom Brady's good at football. You don't have to do this. We all acknowledge that he's really good at football.
Ace, were you going to say something?
No, I'm going to save it for later.
Okay, James Sander here says, what was Pat's record both years before Brady? I think that's what Noah Stone just said. And then it was Tom with Bledsoe. Oh, with Bledsoe, they were bad.
They made the Super Bowl, though. They just lost to Brett Favre.
Yeah.
But, yeah.
We're talking to people who weren't born yet. Like, they were not born yet. They are commenting on stuff that
I was born. That's why when you said, Q, that Tom Brady wasn't a part of the first 3 Super Bowls, that's not true. That second
I didn't say that,
beat
though.
the Panthers. That second one they beat the Panthers 32-29. He threw 354 yards, 3 touchdowns, and an interception. Tom Brady was different when he came into the league, bro.
Yeah, but it was still about that defense.
The offense was statistically
The
better than
offense
the
was pretty
defense
good.
that season.
So this is what I will say with Bill throughout the year, like during the season. That defense will always give you problem. For some reason, when we went then to playoffs/Super Bowl, that defense
Why
got a
can't
little
it be
softer.
both?
No, I agree. This is what I told Ace. I said to Ace,
Mm.
I thought it was a perfect marriage between both of them. I
Yeah.
think Tom Brady
I
needed
think
equally
I
built.
think the first one you could say the defense. The second one, the defense. I mean, they won 32-29 in the Super Bowl.
No, I'm just saying in
But it's not
general
Third
just
for the
about
one,
the
legacy.
individual game, though. It's
Yeah, for
about
the
like how
legacy.
did you get to that game? How did you get seated to where
they
you
got
were?
to it by
What got you
Tom
through most
Brady,
of the
dog.
season? And it was like
They got
Tom
to
gave
it
you
by
some
Tom Brady.
Tom gave you some moments in that era, but it wasn't like always, oh my God. Like we didn't really feel that way about Tom until he won his first MVP in '07. Like it was still really good quarterback Tom Brady, but it
Yeah.
was like, hey, Tom's clutch. Tom gonna get you that moment, right?
Yeah,
Like
he was
it
always
was about the
clutch.
moments with Tom, not the
Yeah.
sustained success that happened in '07. That's my main point. It's like, yeah, Tom got you some moments and some big spots for sure. Absolutely. Nobody's denying that. But
Right.
we can't rewrite that and act like he was giving you like Tom Brady shit all year in them early days when that just was not the case with him until about like '07 and he got hurt and he came back in '09. And from '09, then that's a different Tom than from like '06 before.
Yeah, I think it was a perfect marriage, is what I would say. Number Stone here says Pats won first 3 Super Bowls by 3 points each, 2 game winning drives. And then Codex here says, I'm lost, but why are Whitlock and Smith beefing? I think Whitlock has been throwing shades of everybody.
Whitlock was
Because Whitlock wants
Stephen
attention.
A. came out with a book, and in this, but I'm not gonna lie, like Whitlock does have some validity to some of the stuff that he's saying because some of the stuff that Stephen A. was saying in his book was very outrageous, like
I
hitting
just bought the
17
audiobook. I could
three-pointers,
not wait to read it. I
17
could not
three-pointers
wait. I
in a
could not
row at
wait.
some random tryout. But basically, Whitlock came at Stephen A. basically calling him a liar for his book. And Stephen A. did not like that. And yeah, that's how the beef started.
Yeah, man. I could not look. I don't care what happened. I'm not on Jason Whitlock's side. I would never call myself being like, you know what, Jason Whitlock? I agree. Ever. No, I'm good on that.
Noah Stone here says Bill is 84-103 with 1-2 playoff record without. That's a lot with the Browns, right?
You know, he even went 11-5 with Vinny Testaverde and made the playoffs with the Browns, and then they moved the team the next year, in the middle of the season. So again, man, if you want to make the argument that Bill Belichick's a bad head coach, sure. It's just not a smart argument to make. Like, were those defenses not good under Bill Belichick pretty much for like 25 years? Isn't he a defensive mind? Like every defense he's had. I'm not about to argue with children over this.
So Ray Rack here says, I was just looking it up. From 2001 to 2006, New England had 11,000 yard receiving. 11,000 yard receiving, almost 2, but Deion Branch had 998 and Brady had
one
least
1,000-yard receiver.
Oh, that's what it is. Okay. That makes sense.
They were trash. They never
every
had
year,
weapons.
They
did not get weapons until
more
2007.
Brady.
That's when they got Wes Welker, and that's when they got that's why I feel like Tom Brady is even greater for doing that with David Gibbons and Kevin Falk as his running back. Like he was.
But I think it's an evolution. It's like he had like
David Patton.
Yeah, it's like an evolution though. Like he got Randy Moss, like he got all of these guys. You can't, and people were like, "Oh, it's all about that he got, and that's why he's good." It's just an evolution. It's like he got better, his weapons got better, and then he progressed as a quarterback as he went forward. But you can't say because he had success with good weapons in 2009, we can go back and say, "Man, if he had those weapons in 2003." He would have put up the same numbers when he's not the same dude in 2003 that he was in 2009. So that's my whole point. It's like Tom Brady's the great thing about Tom Brady is that it took time for him to become Tom Brady. It was not day one in the league. This is the best quarterback you've ever seen in your life. It took 20 years. Like people didn't even consider Tom Brady better than Peyton Manning when they were both in the league at the same time for the most part.
Yeah.
Just look at the MVPs. They
That's
always
one of the
thought Peyton was the
reasons
better
why
quarterback.
Tom was slept on. That's one of the
Yeah.
reasons why Tom was slept on. And during that time, Peyton Manning had considerably better weapons, and he still lost to Tom Brady in the playoffs.
Because the Patriots had a really good defense, right? Like it was a good marriage between it was a good marriage between two things. Like, and that's what put it over the top. But Tom consistently developed and got better every year of his career until like his last couple of years in the season in his career. And that's what makes him in his story great. But we can't retcon it and be like who Tom was in 2012 was who he was in 2002 because you go back and watch.
You can
not
say
the
that
same
with
guy.
a lot of, but it wasn't the same football either. It wasn't the same
Yeah,
rules.
it wasn't. He wasn't the same. He didn't have the same level of consistent impact.
Early on isn't the same Ben Roethlisberger as him like 5 or 6 years later.
Which is why I would never be like, if Ben had weapons in 2003, he would have threw for 4,000 yards. Like it took him a while to get to that point. And that's what I'm saying with Tom is like, we can't retroactively act like the beginning of that was all Tom now because we know that Tom is a combination
of the defense
and
the rank.
Yeah, it was like a combination of defense and then Ben stepping up in moments.
But when you do look back at guys that won back then, like quarterbacks that even had good defenses, so talk about the 2000 Buccaneers, right? They still had Keyshawn Johnson and like actual receivers. Tom did that with none of that. That's all I'm saying.
Who's the receivers on the 2000 Ravens? Like there have been teams who have been able to do it. Like it was before they even had Shannon Sharp. No, Shannon Sharp wasn't on the team at that point.
Yeah,
he wasn't on the team that won the Super Bowl.
Yeah, he was
on the 2000 Super Bowl team. But that was almost Shannon Sharp though. Like it wasn't like prime Shannon Sharp.
Our lead receiver, if
I had Jamal Lewis,
was Brandon.
He had Kevin Falk. They had Jamal Lewis, who was one of the best running backs.
Yeah, fair. Jamal Lewis.
They also had the Patriots at the time had some good role players as well. Like it wasn't just this decimal. They had nothing show on offense. Like they had some good players on there. Like they didn't have the stars, but they had some good role players on there, which I feel like we're erasing a lot of people by giving all the credit to Tom.
I don't disagree here, Rick. I think it was a good marriage between both. Nova Stone says Bill not New England coach in '97. Bill is okay, not elite. And with that, we will stop it there because we have some games to go through, and this is a conversation that is good. But we'll go through it all night if need to be. Okay, we'll start with the Steelers at the Bills. Bills are -10 still. We talk about this line, how insane it is. I've been thinking about putting some money into the Steelers +10. Yes.
Don't you feel like since it's snowing? I mean, no, it's snowing in Kansas City. The weather's supposed to be bad. I'm like, well, this might mean that Josh Allen ain't gonna have the ball in his hands most of the game. But if that's the case, I think it goes towards the Bills way more. Like if it was like 75 and sunny and Josh Allen had the freedom to throw the ball as much as he wanted, I'd be like, man, he might turn that thing over 4 times and the Steelers might sneak out with this. But if all they ask him to do is throw the ball like 10, 20 times, he might stay in control.
So what I read on forecast, and I'm trying to check here, but it's not gonna snow, but it's gonna be very, very cold. Never mind, it's supposed to snow. Yeah,
it's lake effect snow too.
Yeah,
windy.
I don't know. It's gonna be interesting because on a snow day, like when there's very bad conditions, at that point, you can almost like the Steelers. This is for the Steelers. You're like, let's make it
nasty.
Yeah.
We're all here like worried about what Josh Allen gonna do in these snow conditions, but not even thinking about the fact that it's about to be Mason Rudolph in these conditions too.
Yeah, but the different thing is, I think Tomlin would tell Rudolph like, you're not gonna do anything here. You're just gonna do simple things, and you're gonna run the ball, and we're gonna punt it. And because
they gonna give the ball to Najee Harris in the snow, he already run like he got jeans on, Sonny. Like,
yeah, that's fine because again,
you gonna have Najee out there trying to run in snow boots. He's not about to hit no corners, dog.
But this is what I'm thinking. They're gonna play the possession game, and they're betting Minka's back. Correct, J Rock?
Minka and DeMonte Casey's back.
Okay, so they're betting that Minka can make Josh Allen throw that pick. on a windy condition.
Josh Allen
And
gonna
when
put them picks anyway. We just gotta
yeah,
be in position to get
yeah, exactly. And Minka usually he's good
But
on getting
Mason
those
not.
picks. But that's the thing. I think
I mean,
Tomlin's
he
gonna
ain't, he
be
ain't been. He ain't
Tomlin's
been
gonna
balling.
be super uber conservative. The game plan for the Steelers has to be we're gonna run the ball. Even if we don't get a first down, that's fine. We're not effing this up. We're not effing this up. Josh Allen's gonna F this up. And I think
Are
look,
this
I'm
like
not saying they're
legitimate
winning the
question? Are
game.
the Steelers have they proven to be consistently good enough at playing that kind of game? Like the
Early in the
grinded out,
year.
I mean,
run the
that's
football game.
No, not
of
Like
course,
really.
man. That's why. That's why
I
I
know
told the
it's
question.
Tomlin ball. I know it's Steelers identity, and I know that. But I'm
Not
saying
really.
like this year, do we trust
Of course not.
Najee
That's why
in
we in
this
the
offensive
position that we
line
in
to be able
now.
to do that?
If
Because I
not,
think Mason will have to throw the ball to make it happen.
if that was the case, we would be number one. Because I mean, we had plenty of chance. If we finished the season 10-7, we had a chance that if we won those 3 games that we lost to teams that we shouldn't have lost, we would have beat the Ravens, and we'd have had the number 1 seed. But with that being said, we don't have the consistency. So I mean, that's not a question.
I'm gonna let slide the last beat the Ravens. But what I will say here is the formula early in the year and where you got the bulk of the wins was let's try not to F this up. And the defense was provoking turnovers, right? Remember, we talked about this early in the year, how sustainable is that the Steelers can winning because they're in the plus side on the turnover margin, right? And for all the shit we did with Kenny Pickett, he was not throwing those picks, right? Like, and then that's how they stay in the game, and then one big play happened, and boom, they won the game. Like that was the full formula for the Steelers, and I think they're gonna do the same in this game. Now, I'm not saying they're gonna win. I'm just saying the formula is no turnovers. Let's play the possession game, and we're hoping Josh Allen throws those picks. Well, he will throw it to you. You just need to catch it. But J Rock, I want you before I finish that to give me what do you think is gonna happen in this game?
I mean that formula sounds like a good one to me, and I mean if it works, it works. I like the fact that we're gonna play in them conditions like we played last week. Although it's not going to be as bad, it's still going to be a cold weather game. It's still going to be chances of snow. It's a 60% chance of snow with 30 to 35 mile an hour wind gusts. So I'm gonna take that chance. Yeah, it's gonna be a bad game to try to pass, but it's gonna be a perfect for us to take that opportunity to pick Josh Allen off. So I mean, like I said, the whole thing is to play that game, play that aggressive game, beat them up front, like we did last game, or like we've been doing the last 3-4 weeks. You know, as far as like beating them up front, getting that push, running Najee, running like a grown man, not with jeans on, running like he's aggressive, running like he want to step on people, run people over. Warren coming and spelling them and getting that quick, presence in the game. And I mean, taking the occasional deep shot. I don't think there's nothing wrong. I think Mason missed a few passes last week that he could have, checked down and maybe through the GP that we could have used to kind of keep the momentum of the drives going. But I mean, if he can kind of like do that and not really kind of felt like he got to win the game and kind of just manage the game, I think we'll do fine. I think we shouldn't be doing a whole bunch of blitzing because Josh Allen is a great runner, and we need to focus on containing and closing up those run lanes. So I think that we need to blitz less. I would say probably like send 2 or 3 offensive linemen. Everybody else needed to kind of fall back and maybe spy a little bit.
D-line.
Make him
D-line.
Make him make the mistakes. And we just got to be ready to take advantage of those turnovers. Now, the thing with the turnovers is we also have to score because even though that we get the ball and we get those turnovers, Buffalo is a team that can score. So I mean, if we don't score and if we allow them to kind of hang around and like we did Baltimore last week, I don't think we get the same outcome. So taking advantage of those turnovers, scoring in the red zone, which has been an issue for us, the last 3-4 weeks, and just controlling the line of scrimmage.
Okay, Ace, what do you think?
Yeah, I think with this game, man, what it comes down to me is I think that this will be, a regular Bills snowy playoff game like they've played in. I think that it does help the Steelers out, right? Because then it doesn't allow Josh Allen to air it out, and it kind of makes them limited. The difference, though, I think between this season and I think a lot of people will probably think about the Bengals game is they got a new offensive coordinator, right? They have Joe Brady. And this is a guy that will run the ball. The issue with the Bills last year is that they refused to run the ball whatsoever. That identity has changed under Joe Brady. We've seen him actually run the ball. I mean, we saw it in one of those games that they needed to win to even get into this position to be in the playoffs. So I do expect them to run the ball. The one thing that I have to look at, though, is the quarterback position, especially whenever you're looking at these playoff games. That's going to be paramount for me. I don't know what the hell to expect from Mason Rudolph. I think he's played solid for the Bills, but for me to say that he's going to be able to go into a stadium with this weather against a quarterback like Josh Allen that's got a ton of playoff experience, that seems like a tall order. And if the Steelers had TJ Watt, I would like their chances even more. But without TJ Watt, facing this Buffalo Bills team that's been a playoff team, they're familiar with playing at home, they're familiar with playing in the playoffs. I have to side with them just because they have the experience, they have the quarterback, and they're the home team. And they remember what the Bengals did to them last year in the playoffs at home in similar conditions. I do think if the Steelers do want to win this game, I think it's very similar to the formula that you guys said. Make Josh Allen, turn the ball over. But if it is snowing, is he going to be throwing like that? Like that's the thing. You need him to throw you one, or you need to at least get to him and make him fumble. If that isn't the case, then on the flip side, I think it's giving Najee Harris and Jalen Warren the ball, right? But Najee sometimes has had some ball security issues. We kind of saw that in the game last week with the weird fumble. With this being the weather, he's going to have to make sure that he holds on to the ball. But that is the key to the success for them. The other thing is, with the weather being what it is, how much can George Pickens be a part of this game? Because part of the recipe for the Steelers the last couple of weeks has been give George Pickens the damn ball. Other than running the ball with the running backs, it's get the ball into George Pickens. Can they do that with this weather? If they can, I think that helps them out. But I think for the Steelers, you want to keep this one close because it could be as close as something like a Josh Allen fumble. If Highsmith's able to get to him, right, that could be something that could end the game. So I do think it sets up to be a possible closer game, especially with the 10-point spread. I think they're just giving Josh Allen and them that based off of the history of the Bills and how they've performed. Because you got to think this was once a team that was supposed to do what the Bengals did and upbeat the Chiefs. So I think that's what Vegas is kind of going with there. But I'm going to take the Bills in this one. I think they probably will win here by three or 6 points. I don't think it's going to be 10 at all. So I'm going to take the Bills in this one.
Yeah, and I didn't say my prediction either. I'm going to go with my boys 24-17.
24?
As you should. Yeah,
I think we're going to score 3 times on the ground.
It's more with the weather conditions. Anyway, Browns. I'm sorry, Q.
The Buffalo Bills run the ball better than the Pittsburgh Steelers. They throw the ball better than the Pittsburgh Steelers. You can argue their defense is better than the Pittsburgh Steelers, especially without TJ Watt. Which, hey, look, TJ Watt, which is funny because Steelers fans have had to make the argument that the defense isn't going to be as impacted this year because TJ Watt isn't out there because the numbers with him on and off just aren't the same stark difference as they were the year before. And that's interesting. That's an interesting one right there. But
1 and 10, right?
I'm saying like the on and off numbers, not the record. The on and off numbers. I guess you guys are only giving up half a yard more on the ground and through the air than you did. Yeah. So maybe it's not as impactful not having TJ Watt. But I think TJ Watt not being out there is probably a little impactful, especially in a game where it's going to come down to physical ability. Pittsburgh has had a good run, but we have to keep the context of who they have beaten in that run, right? They beat Cincinnati with Jake Browning out there, and Jake Browning certainly had him a Jake Browning game in that one. And then they beat the Seattle Seahawks, who played their worst football at the end of the season. They also lost to the Cardinals. It's not to say that those wins don't count. They obviously count. The Pittsburgh Steelers are in the playoffs because of those wins. But are those wins enough to make me think that they're going to beat Buffalo? Probably not. Like, I don't think that they'll beat Buffalo. If this is a snow game, I definitely think this is in Buffalo's favor, even though the last snow game they played and they folded, but that was against Joe Burrow and the Bengals, not Mason Rudolph and the Steelers. So I think it's a little bit different there. When it comes to if this is going to be a regular weather game, they're able to run their whole offense. Have real concerns about who's going to be out there trying to shut down Stephon Diggs. Like, is it going to be JPJ out there? You're going to send a rookie on Stephon Diggs? Sounds like a bad recipe. Sounds like a lot of pass interference calls to me. And I don't think you have any, huh?
I said I can't really say that. He done played against a lot of the top receivers in the league this year, and he got a 64%.
I've also seen veterans be able to have their way with him, though. Like, I saw Amari Cooper just run one route on him and be able to win it all game in week 13 with DTR in there, right? Like, I think that a veteran wide receiver like Stephon Diggs, a physical, precise route runner, that's exactly the guy with JPJ's really handsy style you don't want to be on him, because he's going to be able to get those penalties. He's going to be able to catch through contact, and he's going to be able to finish those kind of plays. And look, if you want to throw JPJ on Stephon Diggs and you think he got it, hey, if that's how you feel about him, then that's how you feel about him. But I don't think he's at the point where I could just say he's going to race Stephon Diggs or even really slow him.
I would put him out there over any other cornerback we got.
Yeah, that's for sure.
Which ain't really a lot to say, because I mean, at this point, you're talking about Patrick Peace and Levi Wallace, who's been giving up way more yards than JPJ.
And that's the other problem, is like, what happens if Levi Wallace ends up on Stephon Diggs, right? Like, what happens if they run that motion? So, yeah, just the lack of options that you have there make me feel like, okay, if this becomes a throw the ball game, the Bills definitely got that. The Bills should win this game. Now, if Josh Allen has one of them Josh Allen games where he just implodes, plays terrible, and turns the ball over 3 times, can the Steelers win this game? Absolutely. But it's going to take the Bills beating themselves. I don't think that Pittsburgh can walk in there, beat a better football team, and beat Buffalo, because they're not the better football team to me. I think Buffalo has to lose this game in order for them to lose the game. And what I mean is they have to beat themselves in order to lose this game, which is possible. Buffalo has done that plenty of times this year, but that's what you're really banking on for the Steelers to win, if you're predicting that, in my opinion. So I don't think Buffalo's going to beat themselves. I think they'll be fine for this week. This isn't usually the round where Buffalo beats themselves. This is usually the round where Buffalo convinces people that they're this unstoppable beast of a team and how they're going to come in and tear down whoever plays them. The divisional round is usually when Buffalo starts to slow it down, or whenever they see Pat Mahomes is when they usually slow it down. So that's where I'm at with this game. I think Buffalo will be able to come out here and win this game. I don't think by 10. I think 10's a little steep, but they'll win it by like 7.
7. Okay. So by the way, all I hear is you should take the Steelers plus 10. I will say this. I agree with the whole Porter Jr. take. The one thing is, in the playoff, they usually have a lot more contact, right? And with the weather being the weather, I don't think they're gonna blank Joey Porter Jr. is gonna blank Stephon Diggs. But I think with the weather, I think so. So let me go back to this. I think I was looking, because I remember the Bills having this type of game. I think this is the type of game that I can see Allen having 15 attempts, 7 completions, 94 yards, and a touchdown. On the other side, James Cook had 25 carries, 179, and a touchdown. And I can definitely see James Cook cooking like that. The thing is, Buffalo
Cook like 3rd in the league in rushing yards.
Yeah, and I was gonna say, the thing is, in the past, Buffalo wasn't like that, right? Like, Buffalo wasn't that, like what A said. They almost refused to run the ball, and if they were running the ball, it was Josh Allen. Now, Josh Allen still runs the ball, but James Cook has become a great runner for them. I can see a scenario where the Steelers can win. They have to make the game messy. If the game is messy, I can see Josh Allen panicking and going back to some of his bad behavior. But I think they're going to run the ball similar to the Steelers, but they will have success running the ball. I don't know if the Steelers will have the success running the ball. And I'm going to go with the Bills. Now, I think it's a close game. I do think it's a close game. I have them. I actually have a low-scoring game on J-Rock. I have this game like 16-10 Bills. Like, and in a 16-10 game, anything can happen, right? A 16 game, a fumble return, and now you're winning, right? But I think the way is make it basically how the Steelers won it in the first half of the season, right? Don't turn out the ball, provoke turnovers, and that's how you can win that game. Okay, before we go to the super chat, because I always forget, y'all want to. What do you think is the poll vote right now? So I'm about to close this.
For the Bills Steelers?
Yeah.
100%.
No, not 100%.
I think what
70,
there's probably more Steeler fans in here than usual. So what? I would go 55-45 Buffalo, but something tells me that the other teams in here, like the Browns and the Ravens, might be trolling, and it might be something ridiculous like 70 or 80%.
How do you think, Ace? What do you think?
70% Bills.
75 Bills, 25 Steelers. By the way, if
which
you
means
think
the real
about
percentage was 65.
yeah, but if you think about it, that is our vote here too. J-Rock with the Steelers 25, the rest of us with the Bills 75-25. There you go. Okay, we have a couple super chats here. Nova Stone, Tom won without. Let's see if Bill does the same. And then Ray Rex says Nova Stone finally got what he wanted. He turned AFC North Talk into a Tom Brady show. LOL. Professor Chaos here says, I think people are forgetting the strongest force in the game in the NFL script writer. So I think Steelers 23, Buffalo 17. By the way, if the script is really a thing,
The
I
script
think
doesn't love Josh Allen. What?
I was gonna say.
You think the script trying to see more of Mason Rudolph?
You guys took it out of my.
They about to write him off faster than they wrote off Terrence Howard and Iron Man, dog. Like they about to. Here's Don Cheadle.
You took my words out of my mouth because I was gonna say the script loves some Josh Allen. Josh Allen. I think I told y'all that they, as soon as the season was over, for everything the Ravens did, they said, nah, Buffalo is that team.
Everybody love a comeback story, though. So, I mean, it's possible.
What has Mason Rudolph come back from?
Coming back from the bench. Coming back from the dead.
What you say? Come home? Like, what is...
I thought J-Rock was...
I don't think a couple years ago, Mason Rudolph would have been able to get a job anywhere. I mean, let alone still be on the team.
He barely got one with the Steelers, right?
Yeah.
I said he had a job. He was on the Steelers.
Practice squad.
We let him go at one point, and he came back.
That's about where he's been, yes.
Ravens Nation here says, to be honest, Steelers have a better chance than Miami.
Wait, is this Mason's third start, by the way?
Yeah. Fourth.
Oh, yeah, that fourth start. Uh-oh.
Okay. That being said, let's talk about the next game. It's going to be an interesting one. Browns, Texans. Q, I'm going to give you the floor as I'm trying to put this poll here. Because this game, y'all played them already. Stroud didn't play in that game, correct?
Correct.
No Stroud.
So obviously, it's a little different with Stroud and no Stroud. But still, you saw what that defense gave you. Offense will be different. The offense will be different. But what do you expect from this game?
I truly don't know what to expect from this game, to be honest with you, because I don't know what to expect from CJ Stroud. He hasn't really played a full game versus a team like this since Baltimore. Like, he played the Jets, but then he got concussed in the middle of that game, so it's hard to tell what he would have done and finished it with. This is a tough test for CJ, but CJ has also been somebody who's adapted to every test that's been thrown in front of his face all season, and excelled at. Hold on one second. So I think CJ is going to show up. I expect this to be a close game. I think it's going to be a game of runs, to be honest. I think a team's going to go up early 10-0, and then team's going to come back, get that 10-0 tied up, and then you're going to get constant runs in this game, and whoever has the last one is going to win it. But, yeah, I think this is going to be a close game. It's going to be down to who does not make the big mistake, who does not turn the ball over. Be interested to see what kind of Joe Flacco you get in this game, right? We all hear the January Joe playoff Flacco stuff. Well, we're going to find out if that has any steam at age 39 now, right? He had that birthday. He's 39 now, right? Crazy. So we'll see if he still has that steam there going into year 39 of his life. But I expect this to be a close game. I think the difference is going to be the Browns defense. I think that they're really going to be able to create some problems for CJ. Not saying that they're going to completely shut him down or anything, but I do think they're going to make life a little bit difficult for him, especially when it comes to having those long sustained drives. And I think that'll allow the Browns to get out there with the victory. It's going to be a close game. I can't even give you a score prediction, but it'll probably be within 3 points.
By the way, Flacco is still 38. He turned 39 on Tuesday.
Oh.
So he's still 38? He's still 38.
Oh, so he's still got that magic.
Yeah, he still had that. Ace, what do you think, man?
Yeah, I think this is going to be a really good game. In terms of this matchup is going to be exciting to see this Browns defense versus CJ Stroud. I think that's the highlight if you're looking at this coming into it. There's some other matchups, though, that are interesting, right? Next Gen Stats released this, I think, 7/19 today. Laramie Tunsil has allowed just one pressure in 40 matchups against Myles Garrett since 2018. The lowest pressure percentage allowed by Garrett over that time frame. The next person is Ronnie Stanley at 9.9%. Laramie Tunsil is going to be paramount because I remember when the Bengals played him. Now, we don't have Myles Garrett or anything, but that offensive line was a lot better than I kind of expected it to be. However, they do have some injuries on that offensive line as well, but Laramie Tunsil isn't one of them. So that's going to be the game within the game. Laramie Tunsil versus Myles Garrett, which is going to be a great matchup, right? The other matchup is Joe Flacco versus CJ Stroud. I'm going with CJ Stroud now. I'm sorry. Like, Joe Flacco has been a good story. He's also turned the ball over a lot, and he cannot do that in this game. And I think one of the other things that's being slept on in this game is the Texans defense, because we saw them make plays over the last couple of weeks. Will Anderson, D'Amico Ryans, their head coach, is a defensive-oriented guy. Joe Flacco cannot make those same mistakes in this game. This is not a game where he could throw 2 or 3 interceptions and they end up walking away from it, because you got CJ Stroud on the other side. So that is going to be something interesting to see, is how that happens, right? And then this was the game where Amari went off for 265. Stingley has been – I didn't see if he was matched up against Amari Cooper, like if Stingley was on him. I know Stingley's been playing some good ball. I believe he won AFC Defensive Player of the Month the last month, so he's playing at a high level, kind of what people expect the Stingley to play. Like, that's going to be another matchup in this one, is Amari Cooper versus Stingley. Going off of the history, I would probably give the edge to Amari Cooper, because I haven't really ever seen anybody really shut Amari Cooper down. But that's going to be a big matchup, I think, in this game as well. So for me, in this one, I feel like I trust CJ Stroud just more than Joe Flacco, because if Joe Flacco comes out here, turns the ball over, I think that's going to be something that would hurt Cleveland in this game. If the Browns end up shutting down CJ Stroud, which I haven't seen anybody, I think, this season shut CJ Stroud down, but if there is a defense that can do it, I think it's the Browns. That's how they win the game. I think it has to be some kind of combination of that. I think CJ Stroud is a really good quarterback, though, and I think he's got a good story. So I think that he has a chance in this one. So I'm going to take the Texans in this one by 1 point. I'm going to take the Texans 21, Browns 20.
Yeah, kind of kind of piggybacking off of Ace, man, I think that the obviously the biggest factor is CJ Stroud in this. Last time, obviously, he didn't play, and it was kind of close at first, and then Cleveland kind of like took off with their passing game. But Joe Flacco made a few mistakes, but like Ace was saying, I don't think that they can afford to make the same mistakes that they made last time. I don't think that it'll be as much passing attack as Cleveland they had last time. I think it'll be more so of a run game and a short passing game, maybe screens and stuff that they have to do to be successful. And I think it'll come down to pretty much one or two plays either way that'll kind of dictate the game. I think that CJ Stroud is going to probably have a decent game against the defense. I don't think that he's going to probably like blow them out the water because we're not going to sleep on the Cleveland defense like our bums are they're not good. But at the same time, like Ace was saying, that CJ Stroud is a different breed. And I haven't really seen too many people shut him down. I don't think Singletary is going to have a bigger game as he had last time, but I think he's going to have to step it up and kind of have that kind of like the game like he had last time to help CJ Stroud supplement those yardages and stuff like that. So if they can kind of, if Houston maybe can take advantage of some of Joe Flacco's bad passes or some turnover, I wouldn't put the Houston out of it. I don't see a blowout, but I think that this game's going to come down to whoever can, make like I said, those one or two big plays. So I mean, I'm still going to ride with Cleveland on this. I think that it's still going to be a close game, but I think it's probably like 5 or 6 points.
So
it's interesting.
Go ahead,
so much of this conversation about this game is about Joe Flacco. I don't think Joe Flacco is going to be one of the most important parts of this game. I think this is really about the Browns defense versus CJ Stroud. Yeah, so I would point out they were up 36-7 against the Texans when they last played them. Obviously, no CJ Stroud, but people are saying CJ Stroud is going to account for like 29 points for the Texans, like of a difference the last time they played. Maybe that's where Anderson's coming back to. So I don't know. It's just, I think the last time the two teams matched up, the Browns did expose that they know that defense well that they run there. It's that Joe Woods, if this, then that 4-2-5 type defense. They know that defense really well and they know how to expose those coverage rules. I think that's going to come into play. I don't think there's many adjustments that they could do. I think Joe will be able to move the ball against them. And I don't know if you feel like Joe can move the ball against the Texans defense and maybe y'all feel like Joe can't. And then this defense is playing at the level that they can play at. It to me, I find, it's a little bit of a tougher gamble. I don't know if CJ Stroud's going to necessarily show up at the level that he's been all season.
Someone said Will Anderson didn't play that game either.
Yeah, Will Anderson didn't play in that game. And then their leading sack artist, he got hurt halfway through that game.
This is what I will add to this. When I went back and watched this game, the Texans started with Keenum. Keenum throws 2 picks. Obviously, that doesn't help morale or anything. This is what Q will argue to me with DTR in that game against the Ravens, right? Flacco did move the ball. He was successful moving the ball. I actually think the Texans will do exactly the same type of defense in that game that they did against the Browns in that game, which was, we're not going to allow you to run, right? If Flacco beats us, Flacco beats us.
Well, it wasn't just Flacco. It was really Amari Cooper in that game.
Okay,
he had 265.
Yeah, okay. But my point is they're going to force the throw. Yeah, I'm not saying that the receivers and tight ends didn't put a part. I'm just saying they're essentially going to say, run, we're going to shut down the run, and it's going to be up to the passing game. Amari Cooper, Joe Flacco, and Njoku, right? That's what the Texans did in the last time they played the Browns. And they scored over 30 points. So Flacco was successful in moving the ball against this defense over the air. Now, Flacco also threw 2 picks in that game. And I think this is where it's coming down in this game. I agree with you, Q, that it's going to be a close game. The problem or where I am conflicted for this game is, although people are gonna tell me, Flacco has thrown more picks than whoever. Although he has a lot of yards, he does the mistakes, and CJ Stroud has been really, really good. It's still a playoff game, and it's still a rookie, and it's still against a great defense. Although, as Q also has pointed to me, the Browns defense sometimes does not travel for some reason. I still think the Browns will come in hyped for a playoff game. And I still think also there's a rookie in a playoff game. I think Stroud played loose throughout the year. If you think about the expectations of the Texans was whatever happens, it happens, right? Like if nobody thought they were going to make the playoffs this year. They exceeded. We were talking about how the Seattle Seahawks exceeded expectations last year. And I think the Texans exceeded expectations. Maybe this is what we were looking at the Texans next year, but not this year. So I am on the fence because I think if there's a lot of turnovers, obviously that can sway the momentum. But last time that these two teams played, Keenum threw for 2 picks and Flacco threw for 2 picks. And I think
Now, remember, they were without a field goal kicker in that game, and one of those picks was like a toss up at the end of the half that would have been a field goal if they had a regular kicker.
Gotcha. But so the point that I was going to try to make is, I think even if Flacco throws or gets a turnover, and that could be a fumble, I don't know if CJ Stroud can play a clean game. Maybe he can, but I still think a rookie on a playoff game, big stage, pressure against, even though
Sonny, let me ask you this though, Sonny. Couldn't you say the same last week? Wasn't that technically kind of an unofficial playoff game for CJ
divisional
Stroud?
game,
Go home?
yeah, but divisional game is different, right? You know that
Yeah,
team.
I mean they're not the Browns. I'm not saying that, but I think that was a high pressure
But
situation for him to
even
go
if it was
into.
the Browns, this is a divisional game. You know that team in and out, like you know that team inside and out. And the thing with the Browns, and it was an impressive win. And I'm not trying to take anything from the kid. I actually think if the kid plays a clean game, which is, I guess that's what I'm saying. I'm not expecting. I think they're gonna win. They're gonna win by a slight margin, 3. But I think he will make mistakes. He will make mistakes, and maybe not even turnovers. Maybe because he's a little anxious. He doesn't throw. He doesn't see the route developing. He doesn't throw the ball well, right? Maybe he doesn't throw any picks, but he doesn't produce what he has been producing, right? And I think similar to the the Texans, the Browns will do the same thing. No, Stroud, we want to see if you can beat us, right? I think the Browns have a lot of faith in their corners. The Browns have.
But Denzel Ward might not play.
He's questionable, but still, it's not only
He's gonna
Denzel
play.
Ward. Yeah, it's not only Denzel Ward with the Browns, right? We talk about the kid from Northwestern that I'm blanking his name, and
Greg Newsome and Martin Emerson.
Right? The corners are there. So I think the Browns can start this game, say like, okay, we're gonna choke this run. Let's see if Stroud can be clean for, and then if they adjust, right? Like if they see that they're producing, I think they're gonna go. We're gonna stop the run and pressure CJ and provoke. If not the turnover, the missed passes, not reading the play, not letting the play develop all the way. And as a rookie, that's very tough, right? This is again no slouch against. So I'm gonna go with the Browns. I'm saying all this to say I'm gonna go with the Browns. If Stroud can overcome that, play a clean game, not let the moment face him, I can see them win. But I believe that James Schwartz, right, Kevin Stefanski will have a good game plan where he's gonna put Flacco in good positions. That this defense will do things to confuse CJ Stroud, and in the moment, first playoff game, even though he had a hell of a year, and I think he's gonna be a great pro. I'm gonna take an L because I didn't know he was gonna be this good. I think I'm gonna go with the Browns about 6 points. Is what I'll say. Close game. I think we all have it close. I'm gonna go with the Brownies. Q, do you have any final word?
I would also like to remind people, like, this Browns defense has been really good against really good quarterbacks all year, right? They were able to shut down Joe Burrow to less than 900 yards in a game. They were able to do things against Brock Purdy that ended up exposing him for like 3 more weeks. They beat Lamar Jackson, made him make a pivotal mistake in the fourth quarter of that football game, and he was pretty slowed down in that second game compared to what he did in that first one. Who else? What other elite quarterbacks that they played this year?
Let me see.
I mean, the Joe Burrow one was his first game of the season. You talking about when he was hurt?
Sure, but did he throw for 86 yards again after that?
No, but he struggled the next couple of games. He wasn't the same. It's not like this is Joe Burrow from last season.
I mean, let's Joe Burrow's numbers versus the Browns.
I think he won the last time we played him before that game.
Yeah, but the other like 6 appearances weren't wins. So we could do this all day, but the Browns have been able to do good against those quarterbacks, and I think this defense has proven that it's not about who's coming up against them; it's about how that person is going to play against the Browns this year defensively. We'll see. I mean, look, CJ Stroud's a really good quarterback. They played some good quarterbacks this year, but CJ will be another one that they play this year. So we'll see how CJ handles this. I think the Browns defense, if they're able to do what they've done all season, they can handle business on offense and they'll be able to win this game. But, if they don't play well, they don't get to CJ. If they let him process back there, he's deadly. So, it's a thin margin of error. It's going to be a tough game, going to be a tight game. But also this defense, if they are who they've been for the most part of this season, they will be able to walk out of NRG with the win. But it's going to come down to that defense and the performance of that defensive line by the Cleveland Browns.
Okay, so we have a couple super chat here. Rayback says, fun fact, Joe Flacco has never lost a wild card game, and the closest put in margin was 13, and the average margin of victory was 17. Now, Rayback, that was how many years ago? But yeah, point taken. All I will say is
it's still true, though.
Yeah, it's true. Point taken, but it's a little bit ago. Luis Cousin says, shout out to you guys. Awesome to catch you live. Thank you for this show. Go Browns. Q, you think without Denzel, we are going to be the same D?
They were without Denzel for a good stretch at this last part of the season. And I don't want to discredit what Denzel does. He's a really good cover corner, but this Browns defense works from the defensive line on out. If that defensive line gets pressure, we'll get by with Martin Emerson and Greg Newsome. If they don't, they won't. But one, I think Denzel Ward's really likely to play. And two, if he's not out there, they've proven that they can be the defense they need to be able to overcome this. I believe the first time they beat Houston, they did not have Denzel Ward as well. So
Newsome is usually playing slot, correct?
Yeah, Newsome plays slot, but if Denzel's out, Newsome bumps to outside with Martin, and then
how is he as an
then Cam
corner?
Mitchell comes in.
Do you think he's better inside or is he better outside?
Greg Newsome's fine inside. He's been much better in run defense. He's a really good inside corner. He's a really good outside corner as well.
Okay, he's a good all around. Okay,
yeah.
John Moore says depends on if Noah Brown and Robert Woods step up. I don't know.
I think the real guy that you got to worry about for the Texans is Nico, but Dalton Schultz. Dalton Schultz has been kind of
crazy.
Is
Tank not playing?
Tank is out. Tank's been out.
He hurt.
Been out. He had a season-ending injury.
Nico Collins is probably
Nico Collins been balling.
Yeah.
But Dalton Schultz been on one.
Professor Chaos here says Stroud is near the bottom of the league against man coverage. The Browns are 2 in the amount in man they run.
Yeah, that's a good matchup there. I think that's more about the wide receivers than CJ Stroud himself. The wide receivers just don't do a good job separate, and the Browns have some of the best man cover corners in the NFL.
Rayback says the Browns can't run the ball consistently. I force them to run that, then just let them beat me through the air. Also, Stroud in 27th in QBR versus man D.
Yeah, the thing with the Browns that I worry about is, and why I think this is going to be a game of runs is, if the Browns go up 10-0, they don't have a way to salt away the game. They can't get 5-6 yards by running anymore, right? They can't just win that time of possession battle. They have to put the ball in danger, and that's when those turnovers start to factor in. So that's why I think if the Browns, even they get a lead early, I wouldn't trust it, because they don't have a way to maintain that lead and keep possession.
Screens
And that's going to be something that they got to develop.
And then Jameer Sanders has Browns 24-13. CJ struggles versus elite defense. Look, this is going to be an interesting game. Before we close the stream, I'm going to go so we can do a quick player prediction. Chiefs, Miami. Who you guys have? No analysts, just Chiefs.
Chiefs.
I know who Q has, because Q will
It's
just
Pat
tell me
Mahomes.
Pemo. Exactly.
Pat
J-Rock,
Yeah.
got Pat.
I want to go to Chiefs at home, but I think Tyreek gonna get his revenge.
Miami.
Ooh, that
This is
It's-
a revenge game. That is an interesting point.
Yeah, the Miami's gonna feel that cold as soon as they get out. They're gonna be like, "Let's go back to Miami."
Yeah.
It's gonna be crazy when Kadarius.
over Pat Mahomes. No,
I gotta
It's gonna be crazy.
I gotta be the villain. I think Miami gonna take it.
It's gonna be crazy when Kadarius Toney outgains.
But the one thing I
Tyreek
will
Hill.
add, I said no analysts, but the one thing I will add to this game is being so cold. How's these receivers that not performed throughout the year gonna play? And then
Maybe
does
it fixes them.
run
Like, they
game?
already stink. Like, who cares if they stink in the cold? What they gonna do? Drop the ball more? Like, hey, maybe the cold makes their hands sticky and they catch the ball. Like, they suck so much that I'm not worried about them being more broken. Like, the Miami Dolphins are like, yeah, man, that could ruin how they run their whole offense. Is with if it being that cold and if the conditions are super slippery like that. But the Chiefs, it's like, hey, man, they be dropping them shits anyways.
They're calling for this game to feel the field temperature -30.
Ooh.
And y'all trust Tua
is
in that?
nasty. I agree.
I don't trust Tua.
Okay, so Packers Cowboys. I hate the boys, but I'm going with the boys.
The Cowboys.
Cowboys.
And then we have Rams.
Where's this one that's at Dallas?
Boys.
It's in Dallas, yeah.
Give me the upset, man. Give me the
Green Bay.
Packers, man. Give me the
Damn.
Packers, man.
Ooh,
Give me the
spicy.
Packers.
We know the Cowboys are frauds, but like this early?
At
You
home,
must-
at
you
home.
must
They've
got-
been
you must
good at
got
home.
you must got a parlay set up or something.
Yeah. They've been good.
Nah, you gotta have. It's always gotta be one upset somewhere. It's always like you pick
Okay.
Miami.
I feel like that's gonna be the Buccaneers game.
This is my upset.
Oh,
This is my upset.
yeah, I was going to say that.
This is my upset. Rams, Lions. I'm going with the Rams.
Mm.
I'm
That's
going
my
with the Lions.
I'm gonna take the Lions. I'm
taking the Lions. And I
like
It's
didn't
too much
believe in the
confidence.
Lions most of the season, but I'm riding with the Lions.
It's way too much confidence in the Lions in this. I gotta go with Sonny here. I'm gonna go with the Rams now, because now when people be confident in them Lions, that's when I'm like, all right, it's time for them to
Jared
drop a
Goff
game.
at home. Jared Goff on the road.
Jared Goff revenge
Jared
game.
Goff at home. I don't know. I don't trust Matthew Stafford either.
Man, Jared Goff in the playoffs. I don't know. Like, who do you trust less? Like, there's a lot of that going on in the NFC of like, oh yeah, you don't trust this quarter. Jordan Love. Do we trust Jordan
I
Love?
just don't trust Jordan Love.
Ace is rolling. Ace is
Telling
rolling
you,
with the
man, them
love.
Packer boy. I like that young nucleus they got going on over there. I like.
Okay,
it.
so final
We'll see.
game: Eagles, Buccaneers. By the way, the Lions only
Yeah,
minus
that's probably the bigger upset. Yeah, I don't like the Eagles at all.
I like the Bucks.
Bucks.
I
They
like
fake
the
show.
Bucks.
I like the Bucks for the upset. That's my upset game.
I'm going with the Eagles in this one. You saw how
Nah,
the
you got two, J Rock, because you said Miami.
Oh,
You said
yeah.
Dolphins.
Oh,
and Bucks.
I really got three. Cause I guess I got my.
You in Florida or am I in Florida? I don't know, because you picked both Florida teams.
Yeah, that's right. He went all coastal.
I don't know if I can go with Baker Mayfield over the Eagles. Ah, man, they've been so bad though. The Eagles look like they just want to quit. Like they want to leave.
No AJ Brown.
And
I
like
heard
the
it.
Bucks might want to be there,
Yeah.
Yeah, I gotta go with the Bucks, man. I don't think the Eagles want to be there. Yeah, I don't think the Eagles want to be there. Sonny, they look like a team. They look like a team of men who have booked all-inclusive hotels.
I agree.
Like
They look like
they are ready for the vacation. Like they look done. They not done, but they just look tired as a team. And I think that like if Baker comes out here early and puts like 14 on them, I don't think they're gonna fight back.
And Jalen Hurts got busted up finger.
Yeah, but the Georgia boys, I mean,
that might help them though, because then they might finally get the damn ball to DeAndre Swift. Like,
and then there's no way the Georgia boys can Baker even see over the Georgia boys, although they have been disappointing.
Yeah, but he don't gotta see. He just gotta know the general direction of Mike Evans.
I'm the lone wolf.
Who's covering Mike Evans right now?
Killing this season. Mike Evans has been killing. They still got Chris Godwin.
I'm the lone wolf. I just lost to the look. I just saw that
lost to Cardinals, dog. They blew
saw
my
the
whole
Cardinals and the
parlay.
Giants. Yes, I agree. But I saw.
You still mad about that?
Yeah, I'm still mad. Yes, I'm still mad about that.
Baker
I had college football on that. I don't even watch college, and I was hitting everything. And then I was like, Eagles are gonna do. Nah.
They blew your parlay. What leg were they?
They were the last leg, dog. They were the last one.
That's
the
nasty.
only one that I needed to win.
Bad way to go.
And you were confident, probably. You're like, oh yeah, Eagles had against the Cardinals.
That's not even one of the ones you were sweating out. Like you were like, you probably will like check the thing, like, oh yeah, that game's over by now, right?
Like,
what?
This about to. I'm in Vegas at the place where you can make the bets with all the football screens.
Oh, with all the TVs.
Yeah, I'm good. I'm about to go and put a prop bet in. I'm like, I'm good, and then I'm in line, and I'm like, hold on now.
Once they hit all those legs, and he was like, "Oh, Eagles are about to play. Pop the champagne. That's all I have.
Yep.
Pop that champagne."
It was over, bro.
You was probably thinking about where you was gonna spend that money, weren't you?
Yeah, I already knew.
Yes, I was.
That's the worst. When you thought you already mentally spent the money, you was on your phone like, "I'm about to do this. I'm about to book this."
Vegas too, and I was already Vegas got me, man, because parlay, and then the roulette wasn't going my way. It was like crazy. It was crazy.
Okay, well,
so wait, so are you betting on this game this week?
Nah, I'm not. Nope. I'm done for the season after that one. I'm done for the season after that.
I'm going to blame Ace for the Cardinals' loss, and that's why I'm going to switch my pick back over to the Eagles. Like, there's no way there's no way they get worse, right? Like, they lost to Tommy DeVito, not Tommy. They lost to the Giants. Ass beat. Nah, there's no way. That had to be rock bottom. They have to bounce back after this, right? Like, there's literally nowhere else for them to go.
The only thing, this is why I picked the Eagles. How good are the Panthers?
Let me see how many games Baker Mayfield has played without having a bad one.
The Panthers just lost to Baker 0-9. Not bad conditions or anything.
The Panthers are not good.
Exactly, that's my point. And they barely beat the Panthers. The Bucks did.
But I think AJ Brown is out this game. I honestly think the Eagles' issue. I think this is just me speculating. I think AJ Brown and Jalen Hurts really got real deal beef because AJ Brown's like on my fantasy team, and he just like kind of stopped going to him the last couple of weeks. So I don't know if that's overtaking the locker room.
He ain't got no choice now. You hurt.
Yeah,
so that is true.
Run the ball. That might win the game.
Then Devonta got hurt too, but I think Devonta's gonna play. Devonta's gonna play.
My mulatto says Brown's road to the Super Bowl has to be over Stroud, Lamar, and Rudolph. Time to put in that work.
Rudolph.
See, Baker just threw 2 interceptions a couple weeks ago.
I caught that one. I caught that one.
I caught that one. Super shit.
Brown's road to the Super Bowl has to be over Stroud, Lamar, and Rudolph. Yeah, might have been on this. We gonna play the Steelers at home in the AFC Championship game. Yeah. He's been on this. I don't understand it. Like, I don't. You think Mason Rudolph about to go? They got 2 in him. 2 in him. You think he about to beat Buffalo and then he about to clean out the 1 and 2 seed?
Oh, I cannot wait. I cannot
Oh
wait.
man, Keith, what were
Hey,
you gonna
dog.
say? You were shaking Baker's.
Yeah, Baker's had 2 bad games recently, which is telling me he do. Right? Like if he had came into this game with like 6 straight bangers, I'm like, oh, okay, no shot. No shot, right? Like he's gonna throw 3 interceptions.
Do
But
you
he
think
threw
he?
2 versus the Saints, and then he barely did anything versus the Panthers.
Really?
Yeah, he probably gonna have a decent game. If my Baker Mayfield clock is still accurate, and he probably gonna be all right.
I think they're gonna eat against that Philly secondary though. I ain't gonna hold you. I think.
But people are expecting Baker Mayfield to play well, and you know what? That's never when he plays well. I'm going with the Eagles. Yeah, I'm going with the Eagles. I'm going with the Eagles. I'm betting on my knowledge of Baker Mayfield.
Hey, like I said, that's my upset.
Too many people are expecting that to be the upset. They're like, yeah, we think the Eagles are. Nah. Now that people are expecting it, it won't happen. Like every time you expect it with Baker Mayfield is never when it happens. It's always like no shot that they do this, right? Like if the Eagles have been playing better, I might have gone with Baker. Unironically.
Okay, well, that will be it. We'll be back here Tuesday recapping all these games. Do we still have 3? We will have 1. We'll see. This is what we have to join. Subscribe, hit the bell, put the comments in the comment section. Thank you, everybody, for watching. We'll see you next time.